Hello, my fellow nerds. It's me, Corey, coming to you with a new top 5. It's going to be of my favorite Sega Genesis games, Remastered Edition. I've uploaded a video on this before, but my games have changed. My favorite games have changed. So I just decided to make a video on my new favorite top 5 games for the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, depending on where you live or what you're used to calling it. So starting off with number 5, it is a very fun game, and it is called Golden Axe. Now, I played this game when I was younger, and I'd never beat it until I was a little older, about like 20 or so. And this game was the pinnacle of my childhood for the Sega Genesis, which was my first ever game console. Not handheld, but like home console. And this is one of the very first games I have played on it. And all I have to say is it's a fun game. If you haven't played it, go out and buy it, play it. It's a fantastic game. There's 3 of them so far, and this game is fantastic if you haven't played it. It's a side-scroller adventure sort of game. It's multiplayer, so that's always a plus. And I highly recommend it. And that's my number 5 Sega Genesis game. On to number 4. This game is fantastic. It is MMPR, or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie for the Sega Genesis. There is an SNES version, but I played this version more often than I did the SNES version, and I actually beat this game multiple times. So I'm used to this version. The SNES version starts off a little differently than this one does, but I prefer the Sega Genesis version over the SNES version. It's a side-scroller beat 'em up, and you can play as all of the 6 Rangers, depending on which one is your favorite. It's also multiplayer, and I highly recommend you pick this up if you have not already. It's just a fantastic game in general. Me and my friend Preston, who's also part of the channel, we played this game and actually beat it in like 40 something minutes or so. And it's a short game, but it'll give you hours of fun if you play as every single Power Ranger. So highly recommend it, and that's my number 4. My number 3 is number 3 consists of 2 games, so I kind of cheated on this one. And it is Splatterhouse 2 and 3. Never played the first one, but Splatterhouse 2 and 3, I love these games. They're side-scroller monster beat 'em up. You play as a guy who is trying to save his wife or girlfriend, I think. I'm not really sure. And he's sort of like Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. But that's where they got the inspiration from. But it's completely different. You fight monsters, demons, or creatures. It's just really fun game. I highly recommend both of these. And that's my number 3. That's all I really have to say about this one. Number 2 is TMNT the Hyperstone Heist. This game is like TMNT 4 Turtles in Time on the SNES, or the arcade version, depending on which one you played. It's sort of like that, but they added a lot more stuff. They changed some of the levels. They kind of kept the beginning of the game where April O'Neil is talking, but it's pretty much the same as TMNT 4 Turtles in Time. But I highly recommend it. It's a little harder than Turtles in Time, but you can easily beat this game if you actually put time and effort into it. Highly recommend it. If you haven't played it, go get it. And that's my number 2. On to number 1. This is kind of obvious. All of these games on the Sega Genesis in this type of game are amazing. They're one of the games that you think of when you think of Genesis, and that is Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog, I've had all of them. Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, 3, Knuckles, and Spinball, which I highly adore that game. But when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog, this was one of the original Sega Genesis games that I actually owned and played. I put a lot of hours into this game. Didn't beat it until I was a teenager or young adult. It was just a lot of fun as a child. I put so many hours into it, and highly recommend this game if you had not played it. If you have not played it, what's wrong with you? But highly recommend this game. All of these games, highly recommend. If you haven't played them, go check them out. If you want to see any of these games on our top 5 favorite games lists, if you want to see us play those on the channel, let us know down below. But until then, that has been my top 5 favorite Sega Genesis games, Remastered Edition. Let us know, or let me know, what your favorite Sega Genesis games are. If any of them on my list are your favorites, let me know down below in the comments. And that's all for now. I'm Corey of WeNerdOut, and I'll see you later. Stay nerdy, my friends.